Just a quick one on me leather. I'm going to do a leather video, so I'm going to show you some of the processes that I run through when I build my knife sheaths. But I thought I'd just show you the leather that I start off with. It comes in large sizes. This is what's called a double butt, so I think it's the back of the animal, and I get my leather from Patrick Leather Company. I think they're based in Sutton Coldfield near Birmingham. I've already used some of this, so this was about a third bigger than what it actually is now. And Paul Patrick, who supplies me with my leather, he does superb leveraging. This is the back of the hide, and it's so uniform and smooth, it's a delight to work with. So shout out to Paul Patrick. I often get asked a lot by people watching the videos, where do you get your leather from? So now you know that this is from the Patrick Leather Company. And Paul, if you happen to be watching this, you did say that if you get a load of people suddenly buy your leather, you'd always reserve the best piece for me. Cheers. Enjoy the video. This is slightly thicker thread than I normally use, so it's a bit tight in the holes. I broke 2 needles just stitching that little bit. That's the inside of the sheath, nicely sealed. Just made sure it all lines up, and that there's a drainage hole at the bottom of the sheath, and that the top is flush. And now I'm going to glue the sheath together, sand the profile, and then stitch the sheath up. This bit is always very satisfying. I sanded the edge, got a nice crisp line going across there. Just got to bevel that edge now. Take the piece of loose leather off, scrap leather off. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Good use of a gas can. Exactly the right radius, or rather the right curve to fit this. Now all these holes here have got to be gone down with the, I call it the oneer, because it's only got one prong, because these holes are just marked shallow at the moment, so we need to go deep with those to get through the 3 layers of leather. Sheath's coming along nicely now. That's the front side. I've gone through to the back side now. You can see all the holes, they're all lined up nicely. Now this is the freehand stitch line, and then dye the sheath a second time, makes the leather go supple, and then stitch the sheath up, and that'll be this one finished. Finished until it's ready to be wet formed when the knife's done. Got the handle to shape on this knife, so all I do with the freehanding, it's just literally going from hole to hole. What this does, this forms a bed. This is forming the stitch bed, and the stitch will lie in this bed quite neatly and below the surface of the leather. And also you notice that the holes are diamond shaped. That also encourages the thread to sit nicely. There you are. So I just dye the sheath over a second time, and this gets the leather nice and soft, and this helps the thread to pull beneath the surface as well. Well, now the sheath's been dyed and it's nice and soft, dyed a second time, I'm going to run the stitch wheel through the holes, and this forms the stitch bed nicely then, and that really makes the thread sit in the grooves. And forms a nice stitch bed, as you can see. I'm doing it at a bit of an awkward angle for the camera. Stitching underway now, going along quite nicely. It's just a simple saddle stitch with a lock on each thread. So basically you've got 2 needles on either side of the thread. You go through around on the back, you can't see that at the moment. You go through, I give that a little pull, make sure it's free, loop it round and pull it through, and then tighten it up, and because the leather's soft through the dyeing, that pulls it beneath the surface and into the stitch bed. It's a slow process, but quite a rewarding part of the build. I guess you could almost say it's therapy. It certainly is, until a needle breaks. That's the sheath done. Just got to wet form the sheath next. Let's have a look, see if I can show you what it looks like. Bring you in for better focus. So hopefully you can see thread beneath the surface. That's the back side. And there's the front side. Just needs to be wet formed, and then I'll finish the edge off when I do the wet forming. And then it goes in the dryer for 2 to 3 days. So it's a long process. Every knife gets wet formed in the kitchen. There you go, look. So that's nice and supple now. The knife will just push in and the leather will conform to the shape of that handle. So I just gently, with a little bit of pressure, using the pads of my fingers, not my fingernails, because you will mark the leather, it's very soft. I just pinch it. It takes on, the sheath then takes on a three-dimensional shape. So now's a good time also to slip the edge down then I'll take the knife out and I'll put the sheath in a warm place. I like to leave it for 2, possibly 3 days to become completely dry. Then it will be finished off with waterproofer. I use golden mink oil. I don't recommend the application of too much in the way of neat's foot oil, because neat's foot oil will soften the leather fibres down and you end up over years with the sheath going floppy, and you don't want that. You want it to become sort of quite stiff but with waterproofness. So I don't recommend the over excessive use of neat's foot oil as a maintenance product for your sheaves. Golden mink oil is good, snowproof is very good. Snowproof tends to be a little bit dull, but then you can buff the sheath up afterwards with carnauba cream if you want to. So that's it, that's the sheath wet formed to that knife.